More than 18 months since the international border snapped shut, it looks like Christmas is coming early for some of us anyway.
Will be time very soon that we will be able to open those international borders again. This will happen next month.
Those borders were set to remain closed until mid-December. But for states that can get 80% fully vaxxed in time, in other words, New South Wales, November will be the grand reopening. Among the measures on the cards, no restrictions for vaccinated Aussies coming or going, an internationally recognised proof of vaccination document, just 7 days home quarantine for fully vaxxed returning Aussies, and no quarantine on return from some countries like New Zealand. Important stuff for those who were so over quarantine they decided to skip that important work trip to Glasgow.
I will have spent, if I do that, a total of 4 times 14-day quarantine. That's a long time for a Prime Minister to be in quarantine.
But as exciting as an open border sounds, don't quit your job just yet.
Thank you very much.
WA is still brigadooning itself from the rest of the country, and the news seemed to catch Queensland entirely off guard.
It has not been distributed in any papers to National Cabinet prior to National Cabinet's meeting. So it's a bit disappointing that we haven't been given that due courtesy.
Woohoo! I'm vaxxed, packed, and ready to relax. I'm finally going to see the big pineapple.
The Big Apple? You're going to New York?
Nope. Pineapple. Queensland, here I come!
Oh, man. I'll give you $50 if you tell him.
Perhaps the most significant part of the announcement was this.
The TGA has also been reviewing other vaccines in widespread use around the world and has advised that these vaccines should be approved.
Those vaccines, Sinovac and Covishield, used widely in China, India and Southeast Asia. A crucial move if Australia is going to rejoin the rest of the world.
Well, epidemiologist Mary-Louise McLaws joins us now. Mary-Louise, is November the right time? Are you getting set for a flight overseas?
Good evening, Hamish. Look, November is a possibility. When you set a target of 80%, you have to make sure that vaccine access is equitable, and you really need the disabled and the regional areas to have also been vaccinated at 80%. Now, in New South Wales, the 16 to 39-year-olds, the ones that I've been very concerned about that haven't had enough vaccination, they'll likely reach it. But Victoria, at the moment, they're only at 25% fully vaccinated. They have reduced the dosage duration, which is fantastic, but they'll need to work very hard to get them up to 80% to ensure that the 16 to 39-year-olds don't acquire infection and continue to spread it when we do this opening up.
So we're looking at no quarantine for return travellers from New Zealand and only 7 days home quarantine for others. Is that enough, especially with the possibility of new variants coming into the country?
Look, you're right, Susie. You do need a bundle of infection control issues even at this stage. And so what it should be is perfectly acceptable for New Zealand. But for other countries, we need to ensure that there's no fake vaccine certificates, that, of course, they're tested before they hop on the plane. They're tested as soon as they arrive while they're waiting for their baggage. And more importantly, they're tested as well every day as they are in home quarantine, because we want to make sure that they don't infect their household, because their household may not be fully vaccinated, or even if they are, they can still acquire low-grade infection as well. So they do need to have daily rapid antigen tests.
Mary-Louise, the PM says the TGA is likely to approve Sinovac and Covishield. Is it just so people who have received those vaccines overseas are recognised as fully vaxxed in Australia's eyes, or does it mean that we'll see those vaccines made available at home?
Well, I'm not sure why, Lisa, we'd need to have them available at home, given that we've got AstraZeneca, which is a great vaccine. Sinovac is good. It does stop anyone from getting severe infection and dying, but it's got a lower vaccine efficacy to protect against symptomatic infection. Now, that shouldn't be a problem because they'll get tested on arrival and then they'll get tested while they're in those 7-day quarantine period. That's not a problem. But you do want a vaccine in Australia that has a high level of vaccine efficacy.
Professor, we are all amazed you have given time for us, given the Financial Review annual power issue today included you in the list of the top 10 most powerful, culturally powerful people in Australia. Shouldn't you be hanging out with Chris Hemsworth and Ash Barty?
Nazim, I'd love to because they're really interesting people. But
what about us?
As opposed to at the moment, and of course you, and of course all of you. You're all gorgeous. But thank you very much.
You dug yourself out of that hole pretty quickly, Mary-Louise McClaws. Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you for having me.
With so much content online, it's sometimes hard to keep up with it all. And let's face it, who has the time? The Project YouTube has you covered with the stories that matter. Hit subscribe for a daily list of the news that you need to know.